Greetings and salutations. It's another day of the Astro Weather, and we are joined by none other than Miss Peaches herself. There she is. Yeah, you like that mic, huh? Yeah. You anything you want to say to anybody? You're usually very talkative. Anything you want to say? Huh? You're just gonna purr. You're gonna purr your morning away. Yeah, there you go. All right, down with you. You got to have peaches. Peaches in the morning. It's good for the constitution. It's all that pulp and fiber. This is a peach country, by the way, out here. They may have had a pretty good peach year because of all the rain we got. So here we go. Um, let's see. Let's see. Who do we have? Oh, where's Michael? Uh-oh. Sound the alarm. But Michael, man, you were getting beat off the jump here, brother. DJ Pebblestone in the house. She'll be with us in October. Spinning glorious beats. Glorious beats. Love this background. Yeah, it's pretty cool, huh? It's actually a real mountain lion that somebody caught at dawn. How cool is that, huh? Let's get a look at that. There we go. Mountain lion dawn. Let's see who else do we have. That's my DJ name, actually. Yes, I'm already thinking of my playlist for this event. We'll do Dan's version of Yacht Playlist. Oh, but also accept suggestions. Okay, Miss Pebblestone, you got to throw a little funk in there. You have to throw a little yacht funk, little yacht funk. When we had the last time, so DJ Pebblestone is our third DJ. Last time David DJ'd. David fucking killed it, man. He killed it. Like, David Palmer is the real deal. I mean, you guys have seen him do his spiritual dance music stuff. Like, he's the real deal. That was like phenomenal. And at one point, he mixed in "Ride Like the Wind" with Christopher Cross, and he just, was just cutting it up, and I was like, "Fuck." That's David's. That is David's realm right there, because that's the speed he operates at. When he's in that realm, that's like it's like finally I get to open up the, it's like a Lambo when he DJs. Pretty amazing. In fact, he was so into it that we went over our allotted time limit with the space, and I couldn't get him to stop. It was like, he was locked in, and I think I started to get him to stop, and maybe 20 minutes later he started to wind down. It was and then we had Misaki, and Misaki was year two. Misaki was great too. Misaki can really DJ. So DJ Pebblestone, the bar is high. The bar is high out here. I know you can do it though. I have faith in you. I've seen you sing, and if you can DJ like you sing, we're good. We're good. Deborah Wheeler. Thank you, Robert. So thank you. You're welcome. We got more. Unfortunately, the tragedy of the Irish story is still on. We'll talk more about that today. Also, we're going to get into Gen Z and Barron Trump. Barron Trump getting involved in his father's campaign. I'll talk more about that over on 15 minutes, although Rumble has not been kind to me the last couple of days. Maybe it's Mercury retrograde, or maybe it's, I don't know what's going on with Rumble. But I set up the show last night, programmed it, and it's not there. So I've got to go. I have to leave early today. So I can't tarry too much. I have to leave early and set that up so we can stream on both platforms. Nice to have you here, Deborah. Congratulations to the Bernie Little League team. I watched them at the parade. Oh, is Bernie in at the Little League World Series? Fuck yeah, that's great. Bernie just down the road representing Texas. Whoa, that's awesome. My kid played on the Bernie Fields when he was doing travel ball back in the day. There he is. There he is. My man, DJ MC. What's going on, Michael? Jackie Delario, the Empress of South Jersey. Use. What's happening, Jackie? We got Gala Travelogue with the very glamorous thumbnail. Christina Jurisic. What's happening, CJ? Good to see you. Mary Lee from Tennessee. Morning back. Sharon Lewis. Looks like my black cat Moses. Moses, that's a good name for a black cat. I like that. Reminds me of Moses Gunn, the actor. Scott Jurisic coming in. What's going on, Scott? Buongiorno. There's my man Ryan. We got a strong lineup. The starting 9 here, very strong, I have to say. Nora Rashid, the Queen of Speed. Oh, I forgot my man, Sigurd. Hey, Sigurd, I got a different email address. If you want to get a hold of me, I'm going to put it right here in chat right now. In fact, if anybody wants to get a hold of me personally, this is the best email address that you can do it at. So I'm going to put it right there in chat. And that's from my man Sigurd and everybody else who wants to ask a question or stay in touch. The Queen of Speed is here. She's got the pedal to the metal. Brandy Herrera, she's back in Vegas now. What's happening? Happy Neurodiversity Tuesday. Get it on. Bang a mong. Get it on. By the way, if you haven't seen Andy Edwards' latest video about he does Philosophy Sundays, it's really, really good. Really, really good. And Andy goes into some much needed territory. If you've ever felt like an outsider, you'll appreciate his video. Barbara Boots. Uh-oh. It's that time. At least it's early in the day. Ladies and gents, don't go away. I'll be right back. I'll be back. Don't go away. Here we go. Okay. Sorry about that. But these things do happen, and I still have to break out my new computer. I'm just trying to. I just don't want to sully it with all the Google shit. I'm still working around that. All right, let me see who I skipped time. I stepped out of time and space for a minute. Let's see. All right, Barbara Boots. Those boots are made for walking. There's my man Thor at the door. What's happening? Janice Phillips, our Oklahoma Wildcats. Here she is. Jonas, the lovely one, the talented one, saving Austin one tooth at a time. Let's see. There's my man Michael. What's going on, brother? Good to see DJ Green Eyed Crow, Glemmis Bank, misbehaving too. Warlanda. There was a woman named Warlanda. Little coffee residue for Warlanda. There we go. All right. Maya, I see we're upping the antics around the world. Or already in the world. Yes. Yes. Moonsprout. What's going on, Moonsprout? My man Ryan says, sign up, become a member of Locals. Yes, we're going to be doing another Locals event. And I'm going to get on there today and interact and put some stuff up there. It's been a while. But I gotta go do that because I gotta take care of my Locals peeps. Moira in NYC, what's going on, Moira? Hope you're enjoying another day in Eric Adams' neighborhood. Miss Nikki's here. I like Wednesday. Wednesday's a good day. Kabuki Theater. Hey, Bo. What's happening? Laura E. Hope you're all doing well. It's Wednesday. I know, right? Let's say, oh, shit. Slot Bunny. What's up, Slot Bunny? Kelly B. In chat number one today. Yes, it's number one chat every day. Neil Smith. Greetings from Menominee Falls in Wisconsin. Wisconsin, the home of the Potawatomi Indians. I spent a month one time in the Kettle Moraine area. Lovely. I don't know what it's like now, but back then it was paradise. Jack, what's happening? Sardinia vacation right now. Man, lucky you. Enjoy life, man. Enjoy life, brother. Hit the like button. Someone hasn't hit the like button yet. Thank you, Steve. Let's see. Who else do we have here? Peachy. Picked the wrong week to give up huffing bleach from a Welsh fly. Seeger, you're always welcome in Texas. You're always welcome in Texas. You and whomever. Doesn't matter. We'll find a place for you. We'll figure it out. I know. It's hard to leave your homeland, but just in case, we don't want you to be a boat person. You're always welcome here. Let's see. Who else do we have here? Maria P. Fair. Good morning. Watch Jupiter and Mars in the hot tub this morning. That's okay. I got to put that up. That's living the life right there. Woo. Nice. Lisa Ann Wyatt. The law is in the house. Nunya Beeswax checking in from the 512. What's up, Nunya? Whitney Palm. What's going on, Whit? 180 ppm GABA. Yeah. You guys don't know what GABA is. It's techno turned way the fuck up. It's like, I remember one time I was at Burning Man. I've been to Burning Man a couple times. I think it was the second time I went to Burning Man. I think it was around 2007, maybe 2007. And, they've got DJs all over the place in Burning Man. I remember going to this one place and the guy's like, kicking something at about maybe 125, 130. It's almost at the point where there's that sweet spot at about 128 BPM, which is kind of the maximum of the heart rate that you can exert yourself without overexerting yourself. So you're kind of like, okay, yeah, this is cool. And then all of a sudden he just steps it up. And then the dance floor clears. Like nobody wants to fucking dance to music that's 150 BPM. And I'm like, dude, read the room. You go up and tell them, and it's like, like, hey, buddy. Was Larry David at Burning Man? Let's see. Artist Seer, life is short, enjoy the moment. Let's throw that up there. That is so, so true and so profound. Absolutely. Live life without regrets. 100%. Road trip. What's going on, darling? Zulia Shergo. Suggestions for dance nights. Hey, DJ Pebblestone has it covered. Masaki is great. He was totally great. And that night we were in a small room. So it was really not too small, but small enough that, people were bumping and grinding. Masaki he was like David. He was like locked in, Masaki with that he's Scorpio, he's just locked in, locked in. The Leo King is wonderful. David is an extremely talented and gifted person. Extremely talented and gifted. And I've been around a lot of DJs. David ranked, and they're all Masaki. I can't stress how good Masaki was enough. And it'd be hard for me to pick a favorite. It's like a father picking a favorite son. They're both favorite in my eyes. Meowsical Catacorn, what's happening? Checking in from the DFW. Love Leo King, David. Leo King got huffy with me when I couldn't find the right chord for his setup. But he's, I think that's part of the territory with David, right? Like you're, crossing the lines there. I like Barron better than the daughter of his. She and her darling hub were a lot of what I didn't like. But I couldn't agree more. Like I didn't fucking vote for Jared Kushner. Okay. Well, in fact, I didn't vote. So I've only voted 2 times in my life. And both times I'm 0 for 2. So you may want me to sit this one out. Just saying. See what drifts. Another DFW. Harry Bowie. Hey, Fei Lee, Arizona reporting in. What's up, Fei Lee? Good to see you. Welcome. Mia. Who else do we have here? Maria Derange. Checking in from France. Night of Cups. What's happening? Terry Marine, BMF. Terry's a longtime listener. Been with us for been on the ride for a while. Ryan's been on the ride for a while. A lot of you folks. I appreciate you being here. Let's see. You be DJ when you have automix software and equipment. Try spinning vinyl. Oh, Michael throwing down. Look at that. Michael DJs too, by the way. That's why we call him DJ MC. Let's be clear. Let's be clear. Michael can DJ. Michael's old school. In fact, Michael and I actually DJ'd at the same place, not at the same time, but at the same place in San Francisco. So Michael is an OG. Ann O'Connor, what's happening, Ann? Let's see. Myra Alexander, you have to leave in 10 minutes. Okay. I guess I have to get the rest of the show in for 10 minutes. Oh, to be a wax cylinder DJ. we got DJ wars going on in chat today. Mr. Grant Moore. Who else do we have? Yes, that would be Maya Rose, the lovely Maya Rose. Hola. Scrubbies feeding my cat. What about a yacht person? What's going on, Tamara? Healing Heart Rosie. Who else do we have here? My cat's hanging sort of with 2 dachshunds. Dachshunds are different. They're different. Veronica's Barn is here. Sue Leonard's here. Glenn Miller. My birthday is 10/14. All right, Glenn. Welcome to the show, and we'll circle back in 10/14, and you get your own birthday song. Let's see. Anybody else? Too many DJs. Just add water. Michael's not letting that go. I don't blame you. You got to stand up. You got to stand up for your right to party. All right, let's get into now, and then let's see if we can hit the accelerator button here, because I gotta take care of that Rumble mess. Mercury retrograde, as always, right? How'd everybody do yesterday? I just kind of leaned into this whole thing. I kind of leaned into it. All right. What I mean by the whole thing, I just decided to lean into I would say being a jerk. But sometimes you have to own your own inner jerk. Like, I hate astrological correctness. I made a comment about somebody who wrote a book about being a manifester or something, and it was on my feed, and I made a joke about, of course, they're a manifester. Laugh out loud. I don't know. Some of you may be manifestors in human design, and again, I don't mean this to be personal, but it's like, if you're a manifester, you know who you are. Like our friend Lynn, who is not here today. You're great, right? You're great. You understand your design, right? You're not going to be, stomping and tromping all over people because you don't understand your design. But if you're a manifestor that doesn't understand your design, then you got problems because you'll do things, and without informing people that you're going to do them, it creates chaos, which I have personally witnessed. I was married to a manifestor for, let's see, 2000, let's see, 7 years. So I had a front row seat with a manifestor. And I've dealt with manifestors who do not understand their design, and they're difficult. You just don't want to be around them. I'm sorry. I'm just being honest. But when they understand their design and they inform, they're amazing people. I've been around some really great manifestors. When they're on and they get it, they totally get it, and they're very productive people. So anyway, I made a comment. It's like this person said, "Well, most of the books out there are for I'm a generator. Most of the books out there are for generators and projectors. There's hardly any books for manifestors. Maybe you should buy it." I'm like, okay, so now I'm being made to feel guilty about my initial comment about a manifestor, which was just poking fun a little bit, right? I was just poking a little fun. And I said, well, there's 6% of the population. So their output offline and online is probably representative of the percentage of who they are, right? It's like I'm supposed to be manifestors are an underrepresented minority in human design. Okay. They need more equity. I should buy the book. Anyway, and I just said, hey, and I went into the, if they're on, they're great, and if they're not, miss me with that, right? And then I said, well, I'll chalk it up to the cross, immutable cross, and I gotta stop this share. Hold on, it's not the right day. Come on, Robert, get it together. Um, and yeah, it was. I just leaned into it. What can I say? Sometimes you just got to lean into it. You know. All right, so let's do this. And I do my best to be fair. I do have the astrological fairness gene with Libra, but every now and then, Scorpio rising kicks in, and I'm like the scorpion on the toad's back, and I can't help it. It's just the nature. Okay, let's get into it. All right. Here we go. Let me zoom in for all you graybeards out there like myself. All right, here we go. We are in it now. This is it. The eye of the tiger. Grand mutable cross. Grand mutable cross. Peachy don't care. She don't care about no grand mutable cross. Yeah, moon in Sagittarius. Pump up the volume. Today it's in trine with the sun, in trine with Chiron. We got a grand trine, and the moon will continue to move by a degree through its grand trineness. And as it gets stronger in the day, the grand trine or your night or wherever that gets stronger as well. So guess what? Guess what? There's a way out of this mess. There's a way out of this madness, right? Okay, I'm gonna throw out the word audacious. Audacious. The audacity of hope. Uh yeah, today is the audacity of audaciousness. Oh, okay, I kind of got into this yesterday as well. It was like I had been doing the decode stuff for over a decade, right? I remember the first time I started was around 2011 with the Super Bowl, and there were other people that were doing it as well. Jay Weidner had been doing it for years. Like Jay Weidner was doing it before, with his Kubrick work. Like there was heavy duty decodes. So it's not like it just started to happen with the birth of the internet. Anyway, there are all these interpretations of what happened in the Olympics and the rights of the Olympics and all this other stuff. And, I just got to this point where, we've been doing these decodes heavily for a long time now. And don't get me wrong, I think there's value there, especially with like somebody like when you get personal, like with a Kamala Harris or a Tim Walz or Trump or whomever, right? Like everything that goes into that blend for trying to understand that person at kind of a hyper level or meta level, that I think that's really valid. And sometimes events are valid too, but we've been doing this for the last decade. And my question was, has it made the world any better? Now, the answer could be, well, the world might be worse if we hadn't been doing that, and I'm willing to accept that. But looking around, it's like, has it made it any better? And I would say, and I said, the only difference I think that it's made is that Russell Brand got baptized because we're still in fact, we're deeper to some extent into, you know, like in Superman, they had this weird kind of alternative universe where everybody was different and fucked up. I forget the name of that alternative, but it's kind of been like that, right? So it's like, well, the decodes haven't really helped on some level, and in fact, it feels like in a lot of ways, and I've said this before, it's a form of indoctrination, like esoteric indoctrination. So I don't necessarily think that's bad either, but I just questioned it. Like, okay, well, where are we? At a certain point, the thing that you do, if you do it over and over and over again, it begins to lose its power. And this goes right into the realm of Saul Alinsky. So if you have literally thousands and thousands of people doing decodes, and not all of them are coming to the same conclusion, by the way, which is okay too, because it could all be part of a, you know, kind of a cubist sort of depiction of an event, right? But if you have all of those people doing all those things, does it devalue the quality of the thing? Meaning that, like, there's all kinds of music now. Anybody can make music, but how good is the music? Like, there was a certain point in time where you had to go through a vetting system for music. And if you were good, you would generally get a contract with a record company. And not in every case, but that was sort of the bar. Like if you were good, you got a contract, whatever good was. Some A&R guy loved you, and I don't know, Marvin Gaye sold millions of records so they can throw some money at somebody who is more experimental or different, right? Or it was just like, hey, can you make hits? Now, there's a bar there for that. So I think that the process in a lot of ways is sort of become engaged in devaluation. Now, I'll do it, right? Because I do it, but I'll do it. But it's not like the go-to. Why do I want to do something that thousands of other people are doing? It's not as interesting to me. And then you got to be the first one to get to market and get it all together and throw it out there and say, "Hey, look what I got," right? And when you do that, a lot of times your work is sloppy, and it's sort of like, you're being a cub reporter and you want to get the scoop. And what Saul Alinsky talks about, these actions, right? They could call them actions. And when an action loses its energy, you have to move on from the action. And my question was, are we losing the energy from this? Right. So that to me was this idea of being audacious, right? It's like questioning things, because even Chiron and Aries questions. You're going into territory with Chiron and Aries. Anytime you get into Chiron, you're taking a risk, right? Chiron, when you get into Chiron and you activate or you are doing something through Chiron, you're standing out, and standing out is a risk for people. A lot of people don't want to stand out. And if they do stand out, they feel okay with standing out in a group. That's why the Democrats are so popular. They, in their own weird way, I don't really think they're all that, audacious, to be honest with you. But in their own weird way, like, they feel like they're standing out. And when they stand out in numbers, it's easy for them. And that's why the Democratic Party is popular, because they have a group. It's like group therapy, group support. We stand out as one. And the Republicans don't do that, because if a Republican or conservative really stands out, they'll get fucking canceled. So it's a really interesting dynamic. But Chiron is the celestial that is a risk for standing out. Anyway, today's one of those days where, hey, you can do it, right? We even got Mercury back at 0 Virgo, moving into a closer trine with Chiron. So I guess the moral of the story here is you don't have to be a dick or a bitch, but don't be afraid, to stand out if you need to. And when I say, stand out, it doesn't have to mean that you are aggressive or you're a contrarian just to be contrary. It's kind of like, let's bust the script a little bit. I'm so sick and fucking tired of Iran and Israel. And I've been talking about Iran and Israel for a while as being these client states, right? And it just feels like it's a setup, like it's the new Cold War. Iran and Israel, their new Cold War. And we know that the Cold War on some level was real. Uh, so there's two levels of the Cold War, right? There's the level of communist cultural indoctrination. That was real. The nuclear threat stuff was not real, but that was the baseball bat that they had for people. So yesterday, I'm like, no more of this Israel Iran stuff. By the way, Iran is a member of NATO, which I did not know. Somebody on my feed yesterday told me about that. I'm like, makes sense. So if Iran gets involved, then NATO has to get involved. And does Israel want to fight against NATO? I don't really think so. So I threw that out there. You know, um, there are 30 synagogues in Tehran. I think over 200 in the entire country. Now the Jewish population is fairly low. It's about, I think, around between 8,500 and 9,000. It was much bigger when the Shah um, was in charge, but they're still there, and there are 30 synagogues in Tehran. So it's like, enough. But I put that out there. It's like I'm not going to be dominated by when fucking Iran is going to strike back. I'm sorry, I'm not. And by the way, Hezbollah is not Iran. Let's be clear. So there may be Hezbollah action, but it's not Iran. Hezbollah is independent of Iran. So anyway, that's what I'm talking about, right? Like we are here today, gathered amongst us, right, with these three fire signs, which are it's the circuit breaker for the Grand Cross. You get into Grand Cross territory, and you're gonna fucking worry your ass off, right? There's gonna be and look, there is plenty to be concerned about. I'm not advocating that you stick your head in the sand. We know the potential, we know the threat. It could happen anytime, right? I just read that somebody stole every single social security number in the United States. Well, what are you going to do with that? Right? Get Lifeguard? Is that LifeLock? Go out and get LifeLock? You may want to do it anyway. Venus Saturn is, I think, of all these aspects, the moon is the one that's, of course, the most transitory and the one that has the most inflammatory potential. It's the moon. Right? But the moon is part of this grand trine. So there's interesting things that take you out of being boxed in. This is literally being boxed in. Now, of these aspects, I think Venus is the one that will continue to linger and we get into a square with Mars, Jupiter opposing Saturn. That T square, I think, is a bit more challenging. And that's what about 5 days out from now? We're about 5 days out. That's more challenging than where we are today because of the Grand Trine and later tonight and even part of tomorrow. So we're not really in the crosshairs yet. I mean, theoretically, we can be. Remember, this is all mutable as well. Mutable means changeable. It's editable. We do have a yod today, and it's going to be Neptune, Pluto, Mercury. We talked about it yesterday. Now we're really coming into it, right? Now we're coming into it. Mercury retrograde. You're using your critical faculties, right? You're using your critical faculties to deal with the whatever the fog and illusion and the potential and the promise of Neptune is, and the insistence of Pluto. I think the Pluto in conjunct is the big one. right? It's demanding. It's demanding that you use your critical faculties and not be asleep at the wheel. Uh, let's see what else we have. Your Mercury is coming in, squaring. It's get close to that Uranian square. So words do have meaning. Like words today can be incendiary. So if you are going to be an ambassador of audacity, then choose your words wisely. Choose them wisely because you're going to live with them. Okay. So either be, I'm not going to tell you how to use them, but I would say that it would help. It would be helpful if you use your words to, we'll take an Owen Benjaminism to break the spell and then lift the veil, right? If you're going to do that, break the spell and lift the veil. I think it's a reasonable function here with the odd. And if you do it wisely, people will thank you, right? So we have to break the spell. I mean, it's kind of, and I know that Decodes kind of do that. I don't want to dump on everybody that's doing Decodes. I'm just saying there's a long history of us doing this. And for me, since 20, I mean, I've done it before the internet, but a long history doing this since 2011. And again, maybe the world would be worse had we not done them. But on the other hand, it's like, okay, is this really helping us? You be the judge. All right, so let's get into our True Hemp Science Star of the Day. One of my favorite people of all time. And I tried to explain this to Joan last night, and she didn't quite get it. And that's okay. Joan is not a sports person, and that's fine. Let's see. Although she did like the San Antonio Spurs when she was young because they all wore short shorts. She shared that with me. Today's True Hemp Science Star of the Day is Mark the Bird Fidrich. And first, let me talk about True Hemp Science, which is the company that puts out these nice little gummies called Starlight right there, and you'll get them as part of your goodie bag, along with some varietal of a eyedropper. This one is Dose, and this one is fully loaded. I'm gonna have some of that tonight. So you spend $150 or more, $100 or more, and type in 15MINS, and you will get the goodie bag. There's more that comes in that goodie bag, by the way. This is a brief sample. How much more? I don't know. I don't want to oversell the goodie bag. Chris will say, Robert, you're draining me dry here in the goodie bag, but you're going to get something really good. Those two gummies alone, you'll be happy that you got the goodie bag. Trust Uncle Rob here. Okay. $150 more, get you free shipping. And there's always a 30-day money back guarantee, truehempscience.com. Okay. Let's talk about Mark the Bird Fidrich. When I believe this is 1975, I'm 15 years old, and Mark Fidrich is a young pitcher. So in 75, he was 21. And he was a young pitcher for the Detroit Tigers. He literally came out of nowhere. And you can see he has this, these enormous locks of hair, very Leo-like, right? And this was from a cover of Sports Illustrated. And his nickname was the Bird because he had a very bird-like demeanor on the mound. And he talked to himself on the mound. I mean, if there was a guy that was kind of a candidate for being on the spectrum, early spectrum, it's Mark Fydrich. And he would actually talk to the ball, and he would tell the ball where to go. And his rookie season, he was a phenom. He made the All-Star team. Like it's like he captured everybody's imagination because he was so exuberant and kind of kind of wild, right? He was kind of wild, but wild in a good way, not wild in a mean way. And there was a Monday Night Baseball. Yes, people watch baseball on Monday night on network TV, and it was against the Yankees. I remember watching that game, and he was freaking spectacular. He went the distance. They beat the Yankees. Uh, Everybody hated the Yankees, and it was such a great game, and he was so electrifying and so unique and eccentric, he came out and he did 2 curtain calls, right? That's like almost unheard of. Like fans don't do that anymore. And he was, he was a very friendly, lovable, positive guy. And it doesn't last, right? Like I think the next season he hurts his arm and then he keeps trying to come back and never really, the magic just isn't really there, and eventually he retires from baseball, gets involved in trucking. He loved trucks, he loved farms, he loved farm equipment. And I think he had some kind of a wrongful death suit or something at the end of his life, that his family pursued. And I don't want to get into that too much, but I want to get into the phenomena of Mark Fidrych. I think the thing about Mark is that, and again, I tried to explain this to Joan last night, is that doesn't last. Like you can't be this eccentric phenom for like 5 or 6 years, right? By year 5, like, oh, there's that fucker talking to the ball again. You know what I mean? It's like he's a flash. And he's meant to be a flash in some ways. As much as I was sad that, he couldn't maintain his, kooky and irreverent and really fun nature while it's like a comet, right? Mark Fidrych was like a comet going across the sky. But you can see like how he operated. There is Mercury on the midheaven. It's conjunct the sun, sun conjunct Pluto. He's a 10th house guy, and he freaking changed baseball, right? This is really endemic of Pluto in the 10th house. It's like he comes out of nowhere and then grabs everybody's attention, and then he's gone, right? It's very Plutonian. And even I remember even like the last game I pitched, I remember pretending at 15 fucking years old that I was Mark Fidrych, and I actually pitched pretty well. Mercury on the midheaven, that's where he's going to talk. I remember actually the only time I faced a girl playing Little League, and she was a good player. This is back when they said, okay, a girl can play Little League. And I said, I got to strike her out. I can't let this girl get a hit on me. This is at a pretty high level of baseball, and I got her a couple times. Anyway, that's Mercury, right? He's talking to the ball. He says, kind of goofy, crazy things, but not anything bad. He's got the full moon in Aquarius. Of course, he's going to be eccentric. That's who he is. And if Aquarius is what symbolized by the eagle, which is a bird. So Mark the Bird Fidrych, it suited him perfectly. He's got all the juice, right? Trining Mars in Sagittarius. Hello, look at that. So he had athletic ability to boot, right? And Sagittarius is one of those signs that builds up on momentum. And what's interesting is that, the kairotic crisis, we talk about this in astrology, and it's the degree of astrology. Right. So by the age of 23, Mark Fidrych is running into his kairotic crisis. And by 24, I think he's pretty much out of baseball. Right. 24, 25. He's in the minor leagues, I think pitching for Pawtucket or something like that. And Capricorn rules all the bones, not just the back, but everything, including elbows, shoulder joints, all that stuff. Right. So, this is where the train ends. The train ends right here with Chiron for Mark Fidrych. Saturn on the ascendant for all of his exuberance. I think there was a stoic side to Mark where he eventually accepted what had happened in his career and he was able to kind of move on. Right. I don't know if there was any bitterness in terms of his baseball career, but even with that Saturn, Uranus, Jupiter square, like things come to an end. He's a paradigm buster. Right? He's a total paradigm buster with that Saturn Uranus square. But it doesn't last. Did he change baseball? I'll say this. There was an instance after Mark Fidrych where there was a period where pitchers were a bit more. I mean, the pitchers have always been kind of loopy. I mean, you have to be kind of loopy to be a pitcher. because the game doesn't start without you. There's so much pressure on pitchers. But there were pitchers like this guy Turk Wendell. He was kind of a Fidrich like character after Fidrich. Before he was a reliever, and sometimes he would start, but before he got on the mound, he'd always brush his teeth, right? And whenever he got off the mound, he always stepped over the lines. Right. So I think in the wake of Mark Fidrich, there was some degree of, I would say, more outward eccentricity with pitchers. But I don't think he was like, there was not a school of baseball where everybody started to talk to the ball. That was him. That was uniquely him. Yeah, and I feel like the acceptance of his fate also is very much connected to Neptune sextiling his sun and Mercury. Like, okay, it's over. Let me go start a trucking business, right? Which is again is very mercurial, trucking, transport. Yeah, and the other thing about Mark Fidrich is that he just doesn't have a lot of Earth. He's got the true node in Capricorn. Okay, Chiron, not the best, but it'll work to some degree. Pallas, 29 degrees, pattern recognition. His Pallas is on my sun, and Juno. So those are asteroids. They're not planets. He has Mars in the second and these planets in the 10th, which are kind of earthbound, but he's not real earthbound. He's not real earth oriented. He doesn't have endurance. He doesn't stick around. There's no kind of lasting momentum with Mark Fidrich. But at the end of the day, I don't think there ever could have been. There's no way. This is, to me, this is the spirit of exuberance in you. For me, Mark Fidrich is Pluto and Leo incarnate in baseball, right? He is Pluto and Leo incarnate. He's fun. He's goofy. He doesn't take himself too seriously. And in my mind, he'll always be kind of emblazoned in my youth, right? And even Pluto and Leo is very youthful, and he doesn't make it past 25 in Major League Baseball. So in a lot of ways, he's very Pluto and Leo, right? To me, Mark Fidrich is like the Sex Pistols. There wasn't anything angry or snotty about Mark Fidrich, but he's not meant to last, and neither were the Sex Pistols. And Mark Fidrich, rest in peace wherever you are. May your bird be soaring somewhere in the celestial realm in the heavens. There we go. All right, that'll do it for today's show. Thank you all for being here. I got to run over to Rumble and try to fix that. Join us on Boxcast. The link is in the chat or Rumble. Chataria, you're the best. Mods, thank you. Everybody who has tipped me a cup of coffee, thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. What else? Have a blessed day. Treat each other well. And use your head in order to discern what's real, your heart to open what's possible. I'm Robert Phoenix. Bye for now. We'll see you tomorrow.